want to speak for yourself, Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Acho.
My dog.
Is that lavender?
Honestly, I don't know. It's a backup suit, you know what I'm saying?
What you mean?
It's a backup, so it's not even in the starter collection. It just is what it is.
So you don't even know what it is, you just got it on.
Yes, sir.
Boy, you are special over there. That's the back of the crayon box right there. All right, let's get it started with the front of the line, my Cowboys, where Dak Prescott's still rehabbing his throwing shoulder. And the Cowboys have him on a pitch count. What? Wrong sport. And there haven't been any setbacks in his rehab. Listen to me, Acho, but Dak said he plans to get another MRI when the team returns to Dallas this weekend. The Cowboys tweeted out the MRI news yesterday with the caption, "It's not a setback. Don't call it a setback. I've been here for years." Not a reason to worry, y'all. Come on. So, Acho, is it a big deal or no deal that Dak is getting another MRI on his shoulder?
Fellas, ladies, gents, boys, girls, come all to the table and let's talk. It's a huge deal that Dak is getting another MRI. I've had so many MRIs that I should own a machine.
Mr. I.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. I've had so many MRIs that I should own the machine, and I know it's a huge deal because it tells me one of three things are true.
Let's go three.
The first option for Dak still getting an MRI is there's clearly still something going on because you don't get an MRI if you healthy. I've had a lot of MRIs. I've never gotten an MRI when I felt great. You don't go to the MRI or inside of the MRI machine proactively. That is number one. Number two.
Okay.
He's getting another MRI because they may have misconstrued the original injury. They may have misjudged it. We thought it was this, it's actually that. We thought it was that, it's actually this. If you've ever been in an MRI machine, it gets imaging of the area in which it desires. However, if they want imaging of a different area, they might have you rotate a little bit differently so that they can see another desired area. So maybe they have misconstrued the injury. Or number three, maybe they misjudged it, and it's actually worse than they thought. Because you could also get an MRI to once again reclassify or recalculate the depth of the injury. So it's one of three things, but it is one of three things.
That's it.
That's it. It's either A, that Dak is still hurt. It's the only reason you don't get an MRI in the first place. B, it's not exactly what we thought it was. So although we thought it was A, it's actually B. We thought it was B, it's actually C. Or the other option of which it could be, the injury is worse than we thought. But either way, that spells trouble for them Cowboys.
Okay. I knew you were going to go some of those places. You took me a lot of places, and I'm glad I'm here. Because now I could call an Uber and go back to where I should go, which is the real take, which is the real response to this. This is no big deal, big dog. I want you to remember who Dak Prescott is.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Or was.
We doing this already? Okay. Was. All right, who he was a fourth rounder who was thrust into a franchise quarterback position as a rookie and won 13 games.
You did.
Acho, remind the people out there, without saying a word, this is just me talking, remind the people how hard it is just to be in the NFL, let alone to be a starter in the NFL, let alone to be that dude, not just me, that dude in the NFL, and Dak did that immediately. Okay, respect to Dak Prescott in this mindset. Let's just go out there on a limb and say that Dak Prescott may approach the game different than we. Maybe approach the game even better than we did. Okay, you've had a lot of MRIs. I want to sit here and challenge you that I've had as many, if not more, MRIs than you. How many surgeries you had?
Like 4.
Oh, God, get out of here. Man, I had that in 1 year. Man. 4. I had that in a month.
But I had MRIs on things I didn't have surgery on.
Okay, me too. What, you think you the only one that the MRIs go to?
I'm at about 11 or 12.
Oh, man, holler when you got triple digits, big dog. I'm an OG with this. This is nothing to brag about. So I'm sitting here, and I was sitting here for a long time. Here's the thing. Dak is approaching the game in a way that I wish, with regret, that I approached the game. We all did it because something was hurt, right? You get an MRI, why? Because something's hurt. Now tell me what's wrong. After that, we go on our little protocol, or our little plan of health. We do our rehab, we feel good, and that's it. Did you ever double check your work? I take you to the University of Texas as I take me back to Columbia University.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Who does want to go back to college? Nobody. But the point is, how many times, Acho, and don't you lie to me, big dog, did you turn in a paper and then you get the paper back and you got that slash on it? You got an A for content, but damn, the grammar, the logic, the rhetoric, a little red red marker here, red marker. We're instead of were. Oh, damn, there instead of there. Damn, you're sitting there like all I had to do was proofread. Dak is proofreading his work before he turns it in before the regular season. I know a lot of NFL players, I watch Speak for Yourself. They all sit up there and say, you only get an MRI when you're hurt. Not when you're healthy. Dak is highly invested in his body. Second highest paid player in NFL history mindset is at play here. So now, Uber, take me back to where I belong.
So, the reason I don't believe your take is because you don't even believe it.
I do believe my take. I didn't live out my take, but I believe it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Marcellus Wiley wants you all and wants myself to believe is that of all the athletes in the history of athleticism, dating back to the old Olympiad, all the way down to the Super Bowl and in the NBA, is that Dak Prescott is the one athlete that we know about who proactively chooses to sit in an MRI machine where you hear for 30 minutes the loudest screeching of screeches.
The worst.
And Dak is choosing to do that because he wants to double-check his work.
Yes.
Kevin Durant, maybe the greatest basketball player playing right now, he didn't double-check his work after his MRI and his Achilles, but Dak Prescott, the great Dak
How do you know he
Prescott,
didn't? How do you know he didn't?
Wants to double-check his
You gonna be a
work.
journalist up here or not? You gonna be up here being a hot take artist or not?
The only person that we know of modern times to have double-checked his work is Dak Prescott, is what you want me to
Because
believe.
he's on the most publicized team in the world outside of what? Man United or something like that. They can't sneeze in the Dallas Cowboys organization without the world saying, bless you. So, yeah, we're going to know about it because it's Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. When the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl? When the last time the Cowboys have not been on any sports show? Think about it. We talk about them ad nauseum no matter what. This is going to get highlighted and exaggerated. Let me give it to you like this. I'm in the process of selling my house right now. Yeah, we'll see. Happy. But the point is, when you want to sell your house, you got people walking through there. There's open houses. Hey, somebody wants to holler at you off market. Hey, I'm the homie. You give me a homie discount. All that, right? And you can make a deal. But Acho, it's not a deal done until one dude comes through there with a protractor and talking about I'm the inspector and I'm here for the inspection. He's coming in to make sure everything is as you say it is. Dak saying I'm feeling fine. No pitch count. You saw him on Hard Knocks. I didn't. He was on Hard Knocks talking about no pitch count. Mad at. He can't even laugh at Austin Powers jokes because he's waiting for the inspection. He feels great, but he wants to make sure structurally he is great.
So he knows he doesn't feel great, which is why they pulled him in the first place, because he had some arm soreness.
Stay with the timeline. That was then. Of course. Acho, right now, my shoulder is burning. Tomorrow, it'll be fine. But if I were in a position that I had to perform using this shoulder, you think I wouldn't want to check it out again before I had to go out there and stress it?
No, because the mental dictates the physical. So if you physically are fine, why would you want to go mentally find out you might not be fine? If you're physically good, you good. You know how it goes in a game. You might not actually bodily, if they were to actually check everything going on with you, you might have some issues. But I was talking to a doctor, a graduate of UCLA the other day, and he was telling me, treat the symptoms. Don't treat what the numbers say. If there are no symptoms, there would be no treatment. But because there are symptoms, there is treatment. You out here ain't go to med school, ain't talk to no doctors, and you out here like, you know what? Dak's just trying to be proactive. So you treat the symptoms. Wow. The only reason Dak getting treatment is because there are symptoms, big dog. You know this.
Damn, you need to sue your homie who just graduated UCLA.
No, he just graduated.
Well, I don't know when. It sounds like he just graduated for malpractice and misinformation. You don't treat the symptoms. You treat the illness. Then you won't have any symptoms.
Same thing.
It ain't the same
thing. The illness and the symptoms are the same thing.
Boy, I don't know what school your boy went to, but he lied to you. I don't want to get the symptoms. Nighttime sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. NyQuil ain't changing no cold. Give me the cold. I want the cold gone, not just the sniffles.
There's not even a cure for the cold.
Thank you. That's the point. But there is a cure for Dak Prescott and his shoulder, right? Knowing what's wrong. Knowing that this was this before and now is perfectly fine. You can go out there with a peace of mind. But you gave me my point that Helen and I already laughed at you. I wrote this down knowing Acho was going to go here, and Acho went there. Acho talking about the mind dictates the physical, right? The mental dictates the physical. Oh, Acho, mind over matter is a true statement. And that's why you want to make sure that his mentals are in the right place. Because Dak Prescott wants it so bad that even coaches saying, hey, even the GM is saying, hey, this dude is a hybrid between Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin in terms of willingness to do it all. We got to hold him back. We got to protect him from himself. Let me give it to you in story form, because mind over matter is true. And Dak wants it so bad that he may blow through some stop signs just to get there. Here's the thing. You ever had the homie? I had the homie. He met her. You met her. You super single. You met her. And you saw her. And immediately your mind started racing because you're rooting. You want this to work. Why? Because you want this to work. Look at her. And you rooting. You in the fourth quarter and you just said hello already. You like, I know how this game going to play. That's what Dak Prescott's doing. His shoulder all messed up. Oh, coach, I'm fine. I'm good. You've been in the locker room before. I'm good. And coach's like, nah. I know you're rooting for how this is going to play out, but let's just make sure. And because you're Dak Prescott, the highest paid player in Cowboys history and second highest paid player in NFL history, we're going to make sure that inspector with the protractor is going to sign off on you going out there and handling business.
Mind over matter. You say, mind over matter. You got to remember this, though, Sel.
What?
You only mind what matters. So the only reason Dak is paying any mind to the shoulder injury is because the shoulder injury currently matters. So you're talking about mind over matter. You only pay mind to the things that matter. And what I'm trying to tell you is the shoulder injury matters. So I am worried. You are not visiting an MRI just because you flippantly have extra time to kill. Stop lying to America. I will not let you do it. Do we have the tweet? Do we have the Cowboys tweet? Do we? Somebody tell me if we do so we can look at it, so the world can look at it. What they say, Sel? They said it's not a setback, and it's not a reason to worry. But quarterback Dak is planning on getting another MRI. Y'all don't need to pay attention to the first sentence. Don't even pay attention to the third sentence, because it's the second sentence that's gonna get you.
Be selective.
It's the second sentence. Not a reason to worry. Let me tell you this, Marcellus Wiley, and I'm sure you've said this phrase before. If anybody tells you not to worry, that is exactly when you should begin to worry. The second they say don't worry is when you should start worrying. I'm not going to put my dog's business out there because he's already done it, so I don't have to. But Sel, over the course of these engagements that you went upon, not one, not two, but the three of them, I'm sure there came a point, a sentence, an evening, a dinner, when you said, hey, yes, it seems like we've been a little bit distant, but don't worry. Second engagement. Look, I know it's going like kind of rough. I'm just in season right now. Don't worry. Third engagement. Y'all was probably at Maestro's. Maybe you weren't even treating her like that. Maybe you were at Cheesecake Factory. Look, I know we started off at Maestro's and it's Cheesecake Factory, but the bread is good. Don't worry.
All brown, too.
All brown.
All hot.
All three of them times, Sel, when you said don't worry, the exact thing they should have done is worry. Because the only time you need to worry is when somebody tells you, don't worry. So, if we had nothing to worry about, Cowboys wouldn't have said don't worry. They just would have said, hey, Dak, get another MRI. Or better yet, they wouldn't have said anything at all. But because they told us not to worry is exactly why we should worry.
You would have worried if you would have heard TMZ or whatever. Dak is at the MRI facility. And then we didn't hear the tweet. We didn't read the tweet beforehand. If they weren't proactive with this would have snowballed into an avalanche immediately. So I'm not mad at them for actually getting ahead of the story. Don't do that. And don't get up here and lie also saying,
what I lie about?
You only mind what matters.
True.
Why you always on Twitter? Why you always on social? That don't matter.
Increase my following.
Increase your following?
Yeah.
But it doesn't
correlates to dollars.
Does that matter? Does it matter? Does it matter?
It can.
It can, but you own something that don't matter. Don't give me that. Here's the thing. You don't always have to worry since someone comes at you and says, don't worry. I give you this example. You ever heard of Nick Khan? Yes, you have. That's my super agent, my dog. I don't know if you're agent
don't even
right
answer
now.
your calls anymore.
Yeah, he's the president of WWE. I don't know. Kind of busy, right? That's my man. But Nick did something that really made me feel good because he used to write real short text to you to call. Give me a call. All good. Now, if he just wrote, give me a call, don't worry, you're going to worry, right?
Of course.
Well, if he writes all good, guess what that means? You should worry, but don't worry, because I got you. No matter what it is, it's all good. Understand what that means in this context. That means, hey, we're going to get an MRI. All good. See, you looking at it like, we get an MRI, Nick texting, don't worry. He ain't saying that. He's just saying it's all good, but we're going to go through the steps of discussing whatever needs to be discussed.
It is never, ever all good if you getting an MRI. It may be all good, but at the moment, at the present time, it's not all good.
You never went to the doctor for a checkup?
Yes.
And then he said, come back for a follow-up?
But I went.
Why not a follow-up?
Because what you following up for? You know this, big
boy.
Boy,
you are riding your age.
No, I'm saying this. If you're following up after already going to the doctor, you following up because there's a reason to follow up. You know how it goes. Doctor hits you. You go to the doctor.
Yeah,
they'll say this. I'll call you if I need to.
Don't you call me for no results.
They said, I will call you if you don't hear from me.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, we just heard from the doc.
Yeah.
And the doc said, hey, Dak, you need another MRI.
No, don't do that.
If the doc didn't call, then you know how it goes. Dog, I will call you if I need to.
Yes.
They just called him back.
God, status quo and evolution always needs a pioneer to make them bridge. Status quo.
Now Dak is a pioneer.
No.
Now Dak is Christopher Columbus. That's who Dak Prescott is.
I heard he won first. I heard one.
That's my point. That is my point.
That's my point. So Dak may be getting this from somebody else that is not reported. That is like, dog, always get the follow-up MRI. Why? Because the last thing you want to do is go out there without a clear mind and understanding that you're all good. Like, it's so crazy. It's almost archaic. I'm going to be real. I'm so regretful that I didn't do this because we trusted how we felt, and we're warriors. We're desensitized. We are motivated to play, so therefore we ran through stop signs. And we trusted a dude we just met 6 months ago who has half the athleticism of us and who knows what kind of degree, and he's called the trainer. And he all of a sudden tell you, go back out there and run through those walls, and you don't know if you really are prepared.
But here's why. And you're exactly right. I give you that. I love this show. I love this show.
Come on.
Because I don't just sit here and argue with you and now you're wrong. No, you're right. You're exactly right on that. But here's the kicker.
Okay.
I would submit that if every player in the locker room knew exactly where they were health-wise, 75% wouldn't suit up on Sunday.
Oh, I'm with you there.
Like, if we all knew where we stood health-wise, from a hemoglobin level to a bone structural level to a ligament level, if we knew exactly where we stood, we wouldn't be on the field. Because we'd be like, hey, man, that ligament is strained. It might tear if you step the wrong way. Hey, I'll just personalize the story.
Let's go.
Last August, before I talked to Roger Goodell for my show, I didn't talk for 4 daase. I literally didn't talk for 4 days. Didn't say a word for 4 days. People would talk to me, I would text them back. Why didn't I talk for 4 days? Because I went to the doctor. And the doctor said, you burst a blood vessel in your vocal cord. So you shouldn't talk. You'll likely need surgery, and you won't be able to talk for 2 to 3 weeks.
My dog.
I said, well, I just started a new show. I don't have time to get surgery. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to keep going until I can't go. I proactively do things, as you know, during commercial break to make sure I'm Gucci.
Facts.
But if I were to go to the doctor right now and get imaging done on my vocal cords, they would probably say, you can't go. So the only reason I'm doing that is if something is so desperately wrong that I need to check up. The only reason Dak Prescott is doing this is if something is so wrong that he needs an update. Because if Dak Prescott were to go healthy to get an MRI, they would find something that is wrong, Sel, like all of us in life, because none of us are perfectly healthy at any point in time. So Dak needs to just go if he can, but he can't. And that's why he's getting an MRI.
Last thing I want to say to that is, that story's real. I had vocal cord surgery. Yeah, I had it. Dick Vitale had it. Gave me confidence, courage to do it. I'm fine. I'm proactive. Not as much as you, but I get it done. Got to make sure I don't go to the club and drink and smoke and talk loud. Then you're fine. I can go to work. That's what I do. I remember being in the club one time and I saw Neil, the singer, right? And Neil sitting there and people would come up to him randomly, like talking to him. Neil, right? And he would go like this. And I was like, what are you doing? And they were like, he protecting that money. And Dak is protecting his money. So, keep right. Wait a minute. Did y'all have him on camera? He was nodding his head at this as soon as I say it about you. Dak is doing what all NASCAR drivers do. Diagnostics in the moment. Watch a NASCAR race. They do the pit stop and we see this. But then there's somebody sitting there with that big old headset and that big old helmet, and he just running them numbers in the moment. Nothing wrong with Dak taking it to the next level. Coming up, the Nets are confident they'll have the big three locked up for years to come. We'll tell you if anything is standing in the way of a Brooklyn dynasty. But first, Cam Newton and the Patriots kick off their preseason tonight. We'll tell you if the former MVP has anything to lose. Next, on Speak for Yourself.
Well, Cam Newton and Mac Jones will reportedly both see the field tonight as the Patriots kick off their preseason against the Washington football team. Head coach Bill Belichick had previously stated that Cam Newton is the starter until further notice. But we'll find out in a few hours who will start and how the snaps will be split up. So, Sel,
What?
does Cam have anything to lose tonight?
No. Bill Belichick said he's already the starter. And that's for the regular season. That's for the real games, not the fake games. Like, the fake gaming is not going to undermine Cam Newton being the starter for the New England Patriots. So Cam has nothing to lose tonight. You know, the combine mindset in its purest form should be you go out there and it's all credit, no debit. We already got your game film. We already seen you play. Now we're going to see you in some T-shirts and some shorts. And if we see anything that makes us think more of you, we'll count it. If we see anything that makes us think less of you, we won't count that. You know why? Because we already know you can play the game. Cam Newton, we already know that you could play this game. We know that you had some trouble learning this system, in part because you just got here, in part because you caught COVID right when you were starting off fast, and in part because we didn't have any weapons. So now Bill Belichick is not stupid. He already said you're the starter. This is a fake game, so Bill ain't taking this for real. Now, Mac Jones, go out there and improve and show everybody that you are something to be reckoned with at the NFL level. But if you're Cam Newton, you could throw the ball backwards all game. It's not going to hurt you. The only thing that will hurt you, and this is being real like a coach's mindset, is this. I got to make sure you're in our playbook. Run our plays. Make sure we don't beat ourselves. This is all about discipline. This is not about performance. Guys are going to go out there and start fast and look good, and some guys are not. But this is not 4 quarters of real football. This is just a situation where I want to make sure everything we've been talking about and preparing for, you're still on pace and learning.
Bill Belichick said that Cam Newton was the starter until further notice. Tonight could be the further notice.
Did he?
I don't think he will be. Tonight will be the further notice, but it could be. Cam Newton definitely has something to lose tonight. Why? Because of what you said.
What's that?
Cam Newton had several reasons he didn't perform great last year.
Yeah.
And not a ton of reasons were his fault. Full transparency. Marcellus Wiley said that he just got here. Marcellus Wiley said he got COVID. Marcellus Wiley said he had no weapons. All of those things are true. I co-sign all of these things. Well, here's the issue. He no longer just got here. He no longer has COVID, and he now has weapons. So all of the excuses that Cam Newton has are now gone. So, Big Dog, if all the reasons that Cam Newton struggled are no longer reasons to struggle, then he no longer has a reason to struggle.
Oh, I got one.
And so I need to see you go out there and ball. The other reason Cam Newton has a lot to lose tonight is the last time we saw Cam Newton against winning teams, the last 3 times against winning teams, he was 0-3, 58% completion percentage, a collective 362 passing yards, a collective 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. Over the course of 3 games, against 3 winning teams, that's an average of 120 passing yards a game. That's an average of no wins. That's an average of no touchdowns. And his team got outscored 24-82, if I am not mistaken. So the last time we saw Cam Newton for the Patriots, he was sorry. So Cam Newton, please just do something to remind us of who you are. You said Bill Belichick knows Cam Newton is good. You know Cam Newton's good. I know Cam Newton's good. Cam Newton is good. He just ain't good in a Patriots uniform. So what we need to see is Cam Newton play well in a Patriot uniform. And if he don't do that tonight, that's something to lose.
Man, Bill Belichick is not sitting there thinking that. And I know that that's a strong way of making Bill Belichick look at it differently, but that's not going to work in this situation. Because everything I listed that you repeated, you forgot one thing. You can't use tonight as a measuring stick.
Why not, sir?
Because it's not real. Think about it. It's not 4 quarters of starter versus starter.
Yes, sir.
It may be a couple of series. Let me tell you what a couple of series. First, let me tell you what preseason and a couple of series can look like and misguide you and mistake you into thinking something that it's not. Preseason, my God. I remember the year I had 13 sacks. You know how many sacks I had in the preseason? 0. You want to know the year I had 10.5 sacks? You know how many sacks I had in the preseason? 0. You want to know the year I had 0 sacks? How many sacks I had in the preseason? 0, because it don't matter. All right, so that's preseason for you. I'll tell you, the Detroit Lions were 4-0 one year in the preseason, 2008. They went 0-16, big dog. It's not real football. Second about it, I hated the preseason for this reason. Fast starters get rewarded, get bumped up. Guys who come out there in 2 or 3 series and they just light it up, make a play, cut his touchdown, whatever. You start thinking and projecting, oh my God, if he played 4 quarters, if this is real, oh my God, he gonna light it up. No, he ain't. I'll give you this case in point. I played against the Buffalo Bills after I left Buffalo as a San Diego Charger. First 3 plays of the game, sack, and then a tackle for loss. After 1 series, sack, tackle for loss, you're like, Wiley about to go for 90 sacks today. Wiley about to set a record today. You want to know what my final stat line was? That's 2 sacks, 2 sacks, and a tackle for loss. Rest of the game, spit, spunt, triple team. It was a wrap. Point being, Cam Newton is not going to sit there and lose his job to a fast starter. Look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones can throw a touchdown. People going to say applause as our backup. We are solidified in the quarterback room.
What you said was accurate, but what you said was not complete.
Okay.
When talking ball, I rarely have more experience than you, but I got way more preseason experience than you. Because your boy was a backup. Yeah. So I played more in the preseason. But
don't act like that University
of
Texas ain't bigger than what I did. Whatever.
Way more preseason experience.
Let's hear this preseason experience. What?
The preseason cannot help you, which is why Marcellus Wiley, I think you are right. But the preseason can definitely hurt you. 2013, I led the preseason in tackles. Somebody fact check me. I was either first or I was second. I still got cut. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah,
led the entire preseason in tackles. The last preseason game against the New York Jets, I had 9 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. Balled. I was like, oh, I'm safe. Because at the end of the day, I'm still playing the game of football professionally against some quality players. Like, everybody ain't sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Still got cut. Taught me that day, preseason can't necessarily help you. But boy, can it hurt you. I know if you go out there in the preseason and don't play well, it can hurt you. Because, to your point, preseason's not real. You're not actually playing against the best of the best of the best, playing their best. So if you, Cam Newton, aren't playing against the best, and if those who you aren't, or if you're not playing against the best and they're not playing their best, you should for sure dominate, unless you're not playing your best, or unless you are not the best. So Cam, if you can't dominate people who aren't the best and people who aren't the best that are not playing their best, then you might not be the best. Because we know you better be playing your best. You ain't got no reason to go out there and just go through the motions. You ain't that good still in our mind. You are good, but not in our mind based on what we've seen. So, Sal, I don't think he can gain anything. And I agree with the large majority of your take. I'm just taking your take and reconstructing the truth around it just based upon the fact of, like, you can't gain, to your point, but I think you can lose.
You can lose based on who you are. Based on your equity already with the franchise. Are you a bubble player, basically?
True.
You can't be ugly and got a bad attitude. Like, basically what I'm saying. Like, dog, you can't be on the fence and this how you play? All right, we good. Yeah, you're going to get hurt in preseason. I'm not talking about that for Cam Newton. Cam Newton's not that guy. Cam Newton's going to be on the roster regardless of the preseason. We're having a conversation, is he going to be the starter tonight, going forward, all the way through the regular season? We can have that conversation. But Cam Newton's going to be a Patriot this year. After this year, he will never be a Patriot again. I give you that. But I want to give it to you like this. I love your take because it's accurate. Like, I know people that live the existence I'm talking about, and I know people that live the existence you're talking about. So both things can be correct. Here's the thing, though. You don't always have to dominate in lesser competition moments. You don't always have to dominate someone who's not that good. I'll give you this. The reason I got into the league is I went to an Ivy League school, Columbia University. Y'all know our reputation ain't that good. I get it. There's Alabama, and then somewhere between there, some other schools, and then there's Columbia somewhere at the bottom. In reputation. I knew that going in. Not a problem. You would expect someone who's going to get drafted in the second round, how many sacks you would expect? Because I hear it all the time when people people thought my senior year, you had at least double digits, right? Yeah. At least some people thought 30, 40. I mean, you're playing in the Ivy League. 6. Now look at your face. Yep.
Hurt? I need to read this seriously, though. What happened?
Oh, dog. I don't care how sorry they are. It's a lot of them. It's only one of you. So double, triple, quadruple, all the attention, whatever. And I was still learning. Point being, you in that situation would think, I'm done. You went to a sorry school and put up sorry numbers. How you get drafted? Now, you think the story ends there? It doesn't. Because if somebody can only get 6 sacks in the Ivy League, you would think they ceiling in the NFL is...
That's good. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Two sacks.
Good point.
Oh, no. Yeah. I could double that, coach, and some. So the point is, Cam Newton ain't got to go out there and just light it up. He's going against lesser dudes. He's going against Harvard and them. I get it. But he ain't got to destroy it.
I don't care about this anymore.
Oh, you don't care about this
Junior year, how many sacks?
I got to Google that.
You had to
was my first year playing DN.
There's no way you got 6 sacks and got drafted in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
What happened junior year?
Yeah. Probably
never
less
double
than that.
digits?
No.
Strictly potential.
Yeah. Well, I mean, god dang. I did go there. I did play in the East-West Shrine game. I played 10 plays, jammed my finger, broke my finger, but I already had a sack in 10 plays and like a tip ball and something.
How'd you even get to the Shrine game?
Because I was a beast, dog. I was big, fast, strong, and smart.
With 6 sacks.
You better than evaluators. Who I know that you didn't know. Coming up, New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh. That's my point. Said the team hasn't had a single fight in training camp. Wait a minute. They haven't had a fight in training camp. We tell you
have
that's
more
a
fights
good
on this
thing. Oh, speak for yourself. Yeah, we are. You keep bringing up my sack. Tonight, the Yankees and White Sox travel to Iowa and the site of the most beloved baseball movie of all time to play an historic regular season matchup on the real Field of Dreams. You won't want to miss it. MLB Field of Dreams game presented by Geico. Coverage begins tonight at 6 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. For the first time ever, Fox Sports and Major League Baseball tap into the compelling recollections from the Academy Award-nominated movie. Just steps away from the original Field of Dreams set. Can't wait for this one.
Me neither. And prior to the game, Fox Sports will air exclusive coverage of A Dream Fulfilled, a special exhibition game featuring 2 youth baseball teams representing New York and Chicago.
And speaking of this game, David Ortiz is putting his money on the line on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Scan the QR code below, download the app, and enter the Field of Dreams contest for a chance to win $10,000 of Big Papi's money. Now let's go to the Jets, where they're making a fresh start in 2021 with new head coach Robert Saleh and rookie quarterback Zach Wilson. Saleh came from the 49ers, where he had success and was beloved by players and coaches alike. Saleh was proud of his new team's camaraderie after the Jets had a fight-free training camp. Take a listen.
I think this team really cares about one another. I think when you see fights, it's when players are being cheap and doing extra and really trying to hurt another person's career. Playing your tail off and playing with effort and technique and a little bit of physicality is not cheap. That's just part of football, and I think these guys respect one another.
Macho. Uh-oh. I don't know about this one. What are your thoughts on Robert Saleh saying that a fight-free training camp proved players respect each other?
I love Robert Saleh, but I do not think he's right here. This is probably about to be the most authentic and real segment of TV y'all see today. Bruh. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Point blank, period. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Real talk. In the game of football, Sal, especially in training camp, I got to see how much I can get away with. Okay. That is the objective, that's particularly in training camp. If I'm a defensive lineman, a defensive end, how much can I jump the count until they throw the flag and say offside? If I'm a linebacker, how much can I get away with holding that running back as he runs this route until the refs throw the flag? If I'm an offensive lineman, how much can I hold that defensive lineman until somebody says something? It's all about finding the limit. But the only way you can find the limit is if you cross it. Once you cross the limit, that's when you know, okay, they got me. Can't go any further than that. Crossing the limit is what leads to a fight. Now, I'm not talking about ignorant fights. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about cheap shots like we saw at Panthers training camp. I think day one of pads where that player immediately got cut. That, to me, is stupid.
Okay.
But what I am talking about is you have to find the limit in practice. How far can I go? Because really, if I can keep it a buck with y'all, the objective is for me to punk you. And the objective is for you to punk me. And the objective is, again, for me to punk you back. Sooner or later, somebody gonna get tired of being a punk. And that is when fights occur, particularly in training camp. In training camp, it's not a matter of the players respecting each other. You got to earn your respect. In training camp is when you earn your respect. So the Jets either have the smartest players ever assembled, or they're not competing enough. It's one of the two. You either have the most brilliant roster where everybody knows the exact line and where to stop before I cross it, or it's not as competitive as it needs to be. I'm not ignorant enough to say that if you're not fighting, you're not competing. No.
Yeah.
But over the course of 90 players in a hot heat during training camp, if you ain't had at least one scuffle, then to me, I question just how bad do you, the individual, want it? Because you not going hard enough to run somebody else hot, or they not going hard enough to run you hot. And that, to me, is problematic.
Man, problematic. Didn't expect this from Coach Saleh. Understand why.
Of course.
And certainly because he's a rookie head coach, and I'll get to that. But everything he said, the complete opposite is true. Now, that's not saying he's a liar. That's just saying he's motivated to tell his side of the story. Let me tell you the other side of the story, which to me is the real side. This team ain't got no fire. Like, there's no way that you go out there in camp and don't have a fight and think that's a positive thing. Let's tell you why. First of all, July, August, not a single soul in this world raises their hand to not be on vacation like you just were, to be on a football field with wet grass and hot temperatures and big fat dudes pushing you all day. And you got to do that multiple times a day. So no one is signing up for this. Already, you have now been displaced from your happy place.
Talk about it, son.
Okay, that's fine, because I'm about to get this money. I'm about to go out there and do what I do. But let me describe to people what we do. Football is a great game of skill, but it's a greater game of will. Now, hey,
One more time? Can I get it one more time?
football's a great game of skill,
Yes, sir.
but it's a greater game of will.
Talk about it.
And we are out there trying to find out who is willing to do the most. As you said, where's that line? Well, I'm going to find out because I'm going to blow past every line I see. And then I'm going to realize, bleep, 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 lap, lap, lap. Okay, I found the line. Here's the thing. You fight in camp because you want to prove yourself so badly. Get that opportunity. Get that check. Get that dream fulfilled. You want to prove yourself so badly, and there's resistance. There's another dude, 5-star, just drafted. Okay, I got him in experience. There's another dude, veteran, multi-time All-Pro. He got you in every way. And you sitting there in the middle, how to fight for your life and your livelihood. And you ain't gonna fight. So you're fighting for your job and you're fighting for your life, but there are no fights. Boy, stop. Makes no damn sense. If you look at it from this respect, to play football, you gotta leave normalcy. You gotta go to that special place. You gotta go psycho. Y'all think they have on them Beats headphones and be doing all this and all that just because they feel cool? No, they know they got a lot of themselves. They gotta become some superhero in their own mind before they could go out there and just do the normal things. Robert Saleh, you've been around the game too long. I understand why you're saying it this way, but you know what the real is.
Of course, Sal. Football will turn cast us not fighters into fighters.
Hell yeah.
Your boy not a fighter. Not a fighter.
Same.
But your boy will throw them hands on the football field real quick if need be. And it's not just you for fighting's sake, but sometimes you just have to make a point. I remember my coach, Will Muschamp. He was a defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He coached a great linebacker, Zach Thomas. I'm sure you know Zach Thomas.
Peace.
Zach Thomas was a dog.
Peace.
Zach Thomas, I believe, was 34 years old, if I'm regurgitating the story correctly. And Zach Thomas is leaving training camp. He had just finished fighting a rookie. 34-year-old, multiple-time Pro Bowler Zach Thomas just fought a rookie on the first day of training camp. Will Muschamp puts his arm around Zach Thomas, walking back into the locker room, says, now, come on, Zach. Like, you're a veteran. Like, why'd you fight that rookie? Zach Thomas said this. It stuck with me for the rest of my life. It actually influenced me my senior year. He said to Will Muschamp, he said, Coach, he was holding me. And if I fight him the first time he holds me, every time he holds me, he's going to think he has to fight me. He ain't going to hold me again. Zach Thomas wasn't fighting for fighting's sake, but he was fighting to make a point. You hold me. If you hold me, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
So now every time you hold me, you're going to have to ask yourself, do I want to fight this dude? And the answer will not always be yes. Thus, you will not continue to hold me the rest of this training camp. My senior year in college, first day of practice, I get into a fight with offensive lineman David Snow, because I just heard that story from Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp was my coordinator. I throw them hands, offensive lineman, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like, uh-oh, what do I got myself into? I'm not a fighter, but I knew this. If I fight day one, I just set the tone. You don't get a second chance of the first impression. So now the first impression is, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna try Acho, because if I try him, I gotta fight him. And I don't want to fight every single time. You just do it sometimes, Sal, to make a point to set the standard of how it's gonna go down.
Damn. You used to throw them hands, huh?
Had to.
I used to be the jokester, so when you all hot and bothered and I'm giggling, that got you even more hot. I did throw my hands once or twice. I do understand why you have to at times. You just have to let people know there are consequences to your behavior. And since there are not referees at every single practice, I'm going to be the referee of this moment. I'm going to lay down the law. I give you all that. Here's why Robert Saleh said it, because I like him so much, I got to just justify and rationalize, of course, this silly behavior, this silly statement he just made. He's a rookie head coach. The last thing you should do as a rookie head coach is argue with results, because you won't win the locker room because everyone knows the reality, the results. If you go through a training camp, no coach ever is saying fight. But at the end of the training camp, they were like, we had a bunch of fights. So then they rationalized the reality. We had a bunch of fights. But it's because we're passionate, we're competitive. When he looked at his team at the end of the training camp, he's like, they didn't have any fights. Let me rationalize that. Oh, they respect each other. Everyone's playing with a respect and a rule and an understanding that there's a greater task at hand. If they would have had fights, he would have came out with the Robert Saleh that he wants to be. Hey, we're ready to light somebody's ass up. And that's the way that you got to play this when you're a rookie head coach. You have to instill confidence in the bunch. Plus, we're talking about the Jets. So they need all of the wind at their back. The last thing they need to hear is that, oh, we're not the best team. Oh, we have a rookie quarterback. And now our coach don't think we got a fire lit. Don't think that the engine is ready to rev. So I understand why he went there, but I have not met a football team that didn't want to go out there and throw hands or didn't throw hands.
And still, let's just break it down for the audience. Because some people, they're saying Robert Saleh can't coach because he doesn't go fighting. That's not what we're saying. We're saying this. There are oftentimes drills, even within football, that are meant to breed fighting.
Hell yeah. You going to go there? We're going to Big 12? We're going to Big 12
Oklahoma. You got Oklahoma drill. You got 2 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, maybe 3 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, linebacker, running back. Oklahoma drill. And you got a coach, offensive line coach. I don't know, I hope my mic ain't bucked up. You got offensive line coach. You better take him
right there.
You better make sure you beat him. Offensive line coach is dog cussing the defensive lineman like he can't hear. Oh, Marcellus Wiley, weak behind. You better ragdoll his old ball. And that all says fight. Everything about that drill says fight. So to not see no fights just makes me wonder what's really good.
What y'all out there doing, right? We're like, how are you feeling today? I want you guys to collide. Anyone? Hell no! Oh, I used to see okay, let me tell you this story. I had Oklahoma drill against Jamie Nails. He was big. FAMU, 370 as a rookie, got up there. And then me and McNick, that's my homie. The worst thing is when you're homie because you're like, are we going to go 99%? Because if we ain't homies, it's 100. But if we homies 99, let's make it look good so coach stops spitting on us. But nah, Big Nails came at me because we both starting for the first time. Nails hit me so hard. No lie. I don't know if I won or lost because I kind of blacked out and I didn't. But I know I got back up and my helmet was sideways. And I did like this. But no one expected me to deal with Nails because his name was Nails. So he won the first one. Now, I'm thinking since he won the first one, you can give him the second one, Coach. Coach, hey, Wally, you gonna go out like that? I'm like, Coach, I don't know who you are. I don't know who I am. I can't see. Had to put my hand, I'm gonna say this for real. If this was my hardest moment in football, I think, ever. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is if I didn't put my hand in that dirt and try as hard as I wanted to, I wasn't gonna get that chance again. And I went out there in the second one. Next thing I know, I was commentating. I don't know. Coming up, the Nets were a Kevin Durant size 18 shoe away from making the NBA Finals. Boy, you got me hype on that stuff. We'll tell you if anything is standing in the way of a Brooklyn dynasty. Next, don't speak for yourself.
Boys, the next thing I know, I was commentating. I was up here. I blinked and I was up here.
God. Welcome back. The Nets playoff run was cut short by injuries to Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Kevin Durant, KD, baby, almost carried the Nets to the Eastern Conference Finals by himself. But now Brooklyn faces a new challenge: how to pay for all three superstars. Nets GM Sean Marks says he's very confident that he can lock in Brooklyn's big three this offseason. KD already signed for a 4-year extension, while both Kyrie and Harden have 1 more year, plus player options for the following season. Got to bring in Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher with us, but Acho, what's standing in the way of a Nets dynasty?
Fellas, if y'all have not learned by now, your boy believes in the rules of threes, particularly for television. So I have 3 reasons. I got health, I got chemistry, I got ego. Ego, chemistry, health. Those are the things standing in the way of a Nets dynasty. Obviously, we know about health. Harden, he was hurt last year. KD, he was hurt last year. Kyrie, he got hurt in the playoffs. They collectively only played 14 games together, playoffs included. Chemistry. Because of the lack of health, there is a lack of chemistry. If you do not get to play together, then you do not fully get to gel or mesh together. But I think the most important is ego. And now you might be thinking, Acho, what you talking about, big dog? We ain't seen no ego issues last year. Well, sure, because we didn't see them play together last year. If Kyrie would have fully been healthy, so I'm not sure KD hits that turnaround fadeaway in Game 7 with his foot on the line, because Kyrie may have taken the shot. If Kyrie and Harden were fully healthy, I don't know that KD drops 49, 17 and 10, because Harden and Kyrie would have taken shots. So now KD's thinking to himself, man, I could have done it, but Kyrie, you gonna do it. So if you do it, you better do it right. Kyrie, you better not take the game-winning shot and miss, because KD knows if I take the game-winning shot, I'm going to make it. Health, chemistry, ego. I got those as the 3 primary reasons why the Nets will not become a dynasty.
I'm going to go with the rule of 3, too. And I'm going to go with Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. If you're asking what stands in the way of the Nets dynasty, it's the Milwaukee Bucks and what they put together. When I look at the group that they have, the overall, the roster that they have, and their, I'm not going to say big 3, but their core, that core complements itself better than the Nets core. Here's the real truth of it, is that, 1, the Bucks are capable of playing 2 different ways. They've got size, and they can play small with Giannis as their big. Or they can put Brook Lopez on the floor. Bobby Portis is coming back. They can play a multitude of ways. The Nets can only play one way. They play small ball. And they're obviously going to continue in that direction, because rather than adding a big to that roster, they went and got Patty Mills. Go figure. We're just going to go all small ball. But here's the thing. Kyrie Irving is a luxury, not a necessity. I love the pairing of KD and James Harden. I think that has championship, maybe even dynastic capabilities. But Kyrie Irving is an addition that doesn't add anything. It only doubles down on what you already have. If instead of Kyrie, it was DeAndre Ayton or Bam Adebayo or even John Collins as their 3rd best player, I would feel completely different about this Nets team, the ability to win a championship and win multiple ones. But until I see them move Kyrie Irving, if and when they move Kyrie Irving, in order to change that core dynamic, to me, the Bucks core remains better, as does the overall balance of that team.
Man. It's time to fight, y'all, because the only thing standing in the way of a Nets dynasty is health and a heartbeat. And that's pretty much saying the same thing. It's not about a rule of 3, guys. If you really want to go rule of 3, there's only one big 3 in this conversation, and it's not the Bucks. It is the Brooklyn Nets and their big 3 of KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. I want to remind y'all, and y'all need to be grateful for KD and his services, not only for the Brooklyn Nets because of the injuries to Harden and Kyrie, and he still was just one big toe away from beating the Bucks, but because he also saved our country. Yep, KD went out there and won a gold damn near by himself. Now imagine KD, who has just saved our country and saved us from the rest of the world, and now we have basketball world dominance again for at least the next 4 years. Imagine if KD was on a team where there were 2 other guys that were healthy, that were almost as good as he was. Imagine if that wasn't just on the global stage. It was actually in the NBA. Whoa, would that team do something? Yes, they would, because Acho brought it up. They only played 14 games together. they were 11-3. He didn't mention the record. But I just want to extract what that record will look like in the 82-game schedule. That's a 64-plus win team right there. Okay, but y'all want to use that against them because of injury. I get it. But it's kind of funny that a team that only had their big three together for 14 games ended up with the 4th best record in the league and the 2nd best record in the West. Okay, let's not go that far, Marcellus. Let's just talk about them in the Bucks. Let's not talk about them going with every other team, those regular season teams. Okay, let's go into that Bucks series, shall we? Fully healthy, tip-off, boom. Harden goes down before you blink. Who won that game? Yep, not the Bucks. Brooklyn Nets by 8. Okay, they come back next game. Harden got one leg. Kyrie's still out there. How much they win that game by? 39 points. Good Lord. Now we go to Milwaukee. Kyrie gets hurt. How much they lose that game by? Just 3 points. I'm trying to show y'all this was a game that went to overtime in a game 7 and was a big toe away, and they didn't even have their other 2 dudes at full capacity. It's a wrap in the East. I'm only saying the East because I'm trying to respect the West, what the Lakers are trying to do, what my Clippers can do, but damn it, it's a wrap if these guys can keep their health, and certainly they're going to have a heartbeat.
Marcellus, I knew you were going to start talking about KD's toes again. That is history.
Hey, you said
Marcellus got a foot fetish?
Rex Ryan up here? He got a foot fetish? That's what you're saying? Rex,
yeah.
Sexy Rex.
I don't know what it is. Whatever the attraction is to the size of his feet and touching the line, and that was the entire difference.
That was it.
And you may be right. But sometimes there are moments in history, there are moments in sports where an event happens and one team goes in one direction and the other team goes in the other. We've seen it multiple times. The Blazers and the Lakers with the dunk from Shaq in the comeback. The Blazers were on the precipice of potentially being a dynasty. And what happened? It was the Lakers instead. This is the same instance because the Milwaukee Bucks are not the same team that started that series. They're not the same team that finished that series. They now have the collective knowledge, confidence, and understanding of what it takes to win a championship that they did not have at that time. The Giannis Antetokounmpo that we saw at the end of the Suns series was not the same Giannis Antetokounmpo that we saw even at the end of the Nets series. I know that Giannis can guard KD. If anybody can, Giannis can. Kevin Durant can't guard Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I'm still going to look at that Nets roster and say, who is there that can handle the Giannis Antetokounmpo that I saw at the end of the Suns series?
Nobody.
That is the difference.
Nobody.
And by the way, if we're talking again, health, the difference between the 3 Nets and their health, you said they didn't play together. Yeah, there's a reason they didn't play together. Because they're all have a history of breaking down. It's not because it was extraordinary.
True.
Meanwhile, you have a Bucks trio that has a history of staying healthy and composed. And let's just go to the chemistry of it. If I look at the Bucks, are there any issues between those 3? Is there any concern that Chris Middleton is suddenly going to go off the reservation? And not to go down another rabbit hole, but your whole thing about Team USA and KD, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't turn the corner until a Mr. Drew Holiday showed up. KD was there from the very beginning in losing to Nigeria and Australia. So don't give me that this was all KD all the time and getting that done.
Here the thing.
I digressed, and I apologize, but you took me there.
Nah, Slick, I'm glad you went there. The last thing I'm going to say in regards to this matter is very simple. The last time we checked in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best player in the league. The last time we checked. No,
that's not true.
The time we checked before that, it was KD.
Nope.
But the very last time we checked, Marcellus, when Giannis dropped 50 points to close out the series, Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best player in the league. And dynasties, like I said, Slick, they have to go through the best player. They have to.
I don't even have Nigerian blood, and I know that.
They have to go through the best player.
All have
Magic had to go through him. Bird had to go through him. Jordan had to go through him. Kobe, Shaq had to go through them. LeBron had to go through them. Then Steph, LeBron, KD-ish had to go through them. The last time...
Speak it, Acho.
Last time we checked, Giannis was the best player, Sel. So maybe you ain't checked the last time, but when you go back and recheck, Giannis is the best player. Dynasties go through the best players. Dynasty has to go through Giannis. They ain't going through nobody's little nets.
Oh, my God.
Marcellus is still stuck in that second round series.
Right. He's still stuck. That's the last time he watched, Slick. After that, him and his wife went on vacation, I guess. They never came back.
Damn right, because we knew that this was rigged. It was over because they were hurt. But the best team didn't win. Look, they went head-to-head. They went head-to-head. Who looked better? Who played better?
Thank you.
Stop it. No. Best player. Now, don't try to shift this conversation again. And then that same player that you trying to pump up and prop up said, no, he's better than me. He said, he's better than me. What are y'all trying to do here? So go through the best player? Yeah, go through the Brooklyn Nets. Let's do this. All right, I'm not getting into TV right now. I'm not getting into the theatrics. I'm going to talk to my homies.
Talk to us.
If Brooklyn stayed healthy, would they have won that series, yes or no?
One's led to assume so, but I can't guarantee. One's led to assume.
That's where I start my take.
No, I'll go there. I'll go there. Yes, they would have.
Okay. Thank you.
If they were completely healthy, they would have won that series.
Thank you. And we have a whole
But it's not the same Bucks team. It's not the same Milwaukee team.
And it won't be the
There's
same
a distinction.
Brooklyn team because they will play more than 14 games together next year.
Maybe.
Y'all in trouble when they get together and do this. Y'all ever used to watch cartoons, Super Friends, Voltron, you know those things, Wonder Twins, like they all scattered around and you think you just gonna have a one-on-one battle. Y'all just got suckered thinking y'all gonna fight KD. KD gonna say, activate. And you gonna see James Harden healthy next year. You're going to see Kyrie coming in next year. It's going to be like the orange line and the yellow line and the blue. I'm too old for y'all. Coming up, Dak Prescott plans to get another MRI on his throwing shoulder. All them Voltron fans out there, stand up. When the team returns to Dallas, we'll tell you if that's a cause for concern. Next on Speak for Yourself. You missed the bang.
Dak Prescott missed most of 2020 with an ankle injury that required 2 surgeries. But it's a different issue that's forcing him to have an MRI when the team returns to Dallas this weekend. Now, Dak is still rehabbing a throwing shoulder strain, but the team downplayed the injury, tweeting out, "It's not a setback, and it's not a reason to worry." Well, let's see how true that is. Joined now by Fox NFL analyst, also Super Bowl champ, the one and only Greg Jennings. So, G, do you agree there's not a reason to worry about Dak Prescott?
Absolutely not. There's every reason to worry about Dak Prescott. When you talk about a player that pretty much holds whether we are successful or not in his play, yes,
palm of his hand.
You have to concern yourself with that. Let's not misunderstand this. The Dallas Cowboys have had for several years a great personnel on paper. But the quarterback play drives them and has allowed them to be successful or not. When you look at Dak Prescott and what he was able to get off, the start that he was able to get off to last year in the first 5 games, it was excellent. They weren't winning every game, but they were competitive in every single game. You would have to believe with the emergence of a CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup continuing to make progress. And we know what that guy 19 going to give you every single time on the field. You have to believe that Dak Prescott, he's the key to their success. That's why they paid him the way that they paid him, $160 million man. They understand this is our most valuable asset. So in order for us to move forward, to progress, to have any chance at success, we must protect it. Now, does that mean we're going to panic? No, we're not going to panic because as a parent, if my kid was to trip over something, fall, skim their knee, and I see blood, I'm not going to go, oh my gosh, what is going on? Because that immediately causes them to panic as well. So, but do I have a little bit of a concern of what just happened? And can it be repaired? Can I Band-Aid it? Do it need stitches? Yes, that's the Dallas Cowboys. He's coming off of an injury, missing 11 games last year, and they didn't make the playoffs, and their success and their stats completely went the opposite direction when you removed him out of the equation. So for us to say after him getting 1 MRI, okay, no big deal. Now you're going back for number 2. We know something's up. We know something's wrong. And now that gives me pause to concern myself with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, I hear all those words coming out of your mouth, and you look good up there. You're Idris Elba bag right now. I give you that respect, but everything you said, I sum up and just say, ain't worried about nothing. Ain't worried about nothing. You know why? Because if you go to the doctor, and Greg, you up there in age, you somewhere between Acho and I, there's a checkup. And then after the checkup, there's a follow-up because they want to make sure that they're all good with their assessment. And you want to make sure that it's all good with what they're assessing. Better safe than sorry, especially when you disinvested in one player. This player has gotten the most money from the Dallas Cowboys in history and the second most in NFL history. For my boy Josh Allen went and just took it. So here's the thing. If you look at Dak Prescott, you know what he's worth to you. Why wouldn't you do a diagnostic checkup and follow up on that same player? This is something I was talking about with Acho before. I regretted that I didn't do follow-up MRIs or follow-up exams. I just went out there and trusted the trainer, who's half my size. I don't know what school he went to. And he just said, well, you good, right? You feel good, right? Let's go play. And then I go out there and play. Sometimes I would stay healthy. Sometimes I'll be right back in that training room needing another MRI. Why don't we just skip all of that? Greg, you're a better player than both of us combined. I respect you, man. You know that. You're a great player. But what kind of student were you at Western Michigan? I don't know. What was the GPA at Western Michigan? I need to know because you sound like the dude who would just write his paper and just turn it in. Didn't want to proofread it. Didn't want to spell check it. Didn't want to grammar check it. Don't want to really look at it and say, is this the best presentation, best way to go out there and perform? But nah, you want to do that to Dak, but you didn't do it yourself, it sounds like. So Dak Prescott's smarter than both of us, even though he's not better than you, Greg, at least on the field.
Well, let me address how I was academically. I was an above 3.0 GPA student in college, and I'm not going to go into depth because there's no need. There's no need. But as far as checking my papers before I submitted them, I did. But even if I checked, I made sure somebody else checked because I didn't trust even myself. What we're talking about, though, with Dak Prescott is completely different. And Marcellus, you're talking about getting MRIs and going to the doctor and checking up. Yeah. Two totally different things. A checkup is, are you okay? That's a verbal back and forth transaction. When we're talking about MRI, you don't go to the doctor and the follow-up is, oh, you know what? When you get back, we're going to follow up with another MRI just to double check. No, that's not the how the checkup works. That is not how checkups work.
Talk about it, G.
If you check in, you say, am I feeling good? Did we make progress? Are we making progress?
Yes.
Based on what your words express to the doctor, then that prompts them what direction we need to go. Do we take it a little bit more serious and look even more in depth, or do we just stay with what we've done already? That's not the choice that the Dallas Cowboys made. They had to look even more in depth because his checkup was, look, doc, something ain't right. I'm still feeling this. I need to get it looked at again. Let's make sure we're not going in reverse versus putting ourselves in drive.
I'm about to put you in reverse. Keep talking like this. You going backwards because a lot has changed, Greg. I don't want to be combative, but I'm about to go at you. A lot has changed since 2015, since you retired, Greg. And you know what? Evolve, my brother, evolve. Now they do diagnostics. Right now, you know, when I retired, they didn't have the sensors on you telling you how many miles you ran a day and what speed you ran. There wasn't no next-gen stats when I ran. All you said was, damn, he fast. That was it. Now they talk about he ran 22.3 miles an hour on the third play. Okay, they've evolved. Well, guess what? Dak's going to evolve too. Dak is like, hey, I'm getting the MRI like the old school cats like Greg and Marcellus and them. But guess what? I'm going to get one after when I'm thinking I'm feeling good to make sure I'm structurally as good as I feel.
But he's not thinking he's feeling good.
He's throwing more. What are you kidding? He's on a pitch count.
G, this
are
is...
y'all kidding me?
If I shall jump in here, tag me in, G. This is what Sel isn't... He's denying or he is at best ignoring. Sel, you don't check the tire pressure on a car, put air in the car, drive away, and then stop at the next gas station and check the tire pressure again.
You ain't got a Tesla.
That's not what you do.
You ain't got a Tesla. That thing always on.
After you check something, you make your adjustments and your assessments, and you proceed moving forward. After you check your answers on your paper, the analogy which you've given us, eventually you submit the assignment, because otherwise you have paralysis by analysis. And right now, either the Cowboys will have paralysis by analysis or Dak Prescott, his tire is still leaking air.
No.
He tried to put in the air, and he still got that yellow exclamation point, and he's like, you know what? I have to stop again. But you don't assess something, fix the thing you assess. You talked about the central nervous system things. I was on the first team that did that, if I'm not mistaken, with Chip Kelly. You do that at the start of practice. You have the things on the palm of your hands, and one to check your CNS, your central nervous system, your readiness for the day. G and Cell, let me tell you what we didn't do. We didn't check our central nervous system at 7 a.m., then stop in the middle of practice and check it again at 11, then stop and check it again at 3 p.m. We checked it to start the day, and we used it as a guide to move forward. If we would ever stop and check it again, there is an issue. Dak Prescott is not getting another MRI 2 weeks later just to see what's good.
Do y'all understand what gauges are? Look, y'all got gas cars, I assume. Y'all ain't got no Teslas. All right, so you go to the gas station, fill it up, and then you drive off. Now, how do you know when you need to go back to the gas station? You check the gauges, right? It's called diagnostics. So we are not machines. We're human beings. But I gave you the example earlier. I'm going to give it to Greg. When you watch a NASCAR race, there's a guy with a big-ass helmet and a big headset who's on diagnostics. And then it's a pit crew who's sitting there saying, come here. That's the pit crew. You do this, you do that. But then somebody's always assessing. But that's a machine. And Dak Prescott is as valuable as a machine to them. So guess what they're going to do? Come back here. Let's check the gauges, check the diagnostics to make sure everything you telling me, Dak, is accurate, because Dak, if you leave it up to him, he gonna go out there and just play through it, because he's trying to live up to that money. But that's a pressure in itself that they want to check in diagnostics, G.
So basically what you're saying is, for the duration of this contract, or the duration of just let's take this season, if we shall, we should expect Dak Prescott to continue being under an MRI for the rest of the season.
Correct.
Just to check his game.
He's on MRI watch. Breaking news. Probation.
Dak every Tuesday, his off day, he's going to go get that MRI.
Based on Marcellus. Based on Marcellus' logic.
I expected this macho, Greg, but not you. You're a dad. You're a father. Look, when your kids come downstairs and they sniffling and, they got the snot bubbles and everything, go grab the thermometer. Let's check your temperature, right? Now, when all of a sudden they good and they running around and once again breaking stuff, you still grab that thermometer and you be like, let me make sure you all good. Because you're checking in on them. It's better safe than sorry. Right. But I guess in G household, once you ain't snotting, you better be,
because you're healthy.
You are good.
Joe Burrow and Tua impressed in different ways last season. I'll tell you who has more to prove in year 2. Oh, why we checking? It should be good. No more checkups. Next, don't speak for yourself. Boy, y'all know these kids out here bad. The Bengals and Dolphins took very different approaches to their rookie quarterbacks last season. Joe Burrow was thrown into the fire week 1. Tua, well, he didn't start until week 8 after Miami's bye. Burrow has recovered from his knee injuries, and Tua will be the guy starting week 1, though the Dolphins did sign Jacoby Brissett. Greg Jennings is back with us, but Acho, who has more to prove in year 2, Tua or Burrow?
Man, Tua has more to prove because for some reason, Tua got more doubters. I still don't understand why people sleep on or doubt Tua so much. In all honesty, I think it's because of a little bit of archaic takes and an archaic mindset. Tua's not as physically imposing. Tua's left-handed. Tua doesn't look as dominant or commanding. But when I look at the stats and when I look at the numbers, Tua's just as competent as the best of rookie quarterbacks, or at least as competent as Joe Burrow. Look at the two. Tua was 6-3. Burrow, 2-7-1. Tua, 64% completion percentage. Burrow, 65% completion percentage. Tua, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. Burrow, 13 touchdowns, 5 picks. Tua's passer rating, 87. Burrow's passer rating, 90. Roughly the same thing. People just hailed Burrow because he threw for 400 yards in a game or 300 yards in 3 consecutive games and lost the majority of those games. Do not get caught in fantasy football stats, y'all. So Tua does have more to prove, but he only has more to prove because he has more doubters. But if you really looked at the numbers, you would see the truth and wouldn't doubt at all.
Oh, man, I would say it's Joe Burrow has more to prove than Tua. I understand your point about the doubters, but why try to prove something to the doubters? Because they're not seeing straight, it looks like, in terms of this assessment. This one is pretty simple, too. Broke it down in 3 categories because Acho told me he talks in rules of 3. So here's the 3 categories. Are you good? Does it add up for the team success? And are you healthy? That's all I want to see from my rookie. Show me something that's good. Well, Tua checks that box, and Joe Burrow actually does as well because Joe Burrow is a good prospect. But then did it add up for the team? Well, for Tua it did because they won games 6-3 with him as a starter. And not for you, Joe Burrow, because as good as you were, you guys weren't that good as a team, even before injury. Last thing is the health. Woo, Joe Burrow, first year already, pit stop already, medic, not Tua. So Tua checks every column where Joe Burrow only checks 1. So Joe Burrow has to prove not only does it add up for team success, but more importantly, he can stay healthy. So if I'm Joe Burrow, I understand the task at hand. I'm not even going to compare myself to another quarterback out there. I'm going to make sure I can show the best version of me, which is being healthy, good, and making sure the team benefits from all of that.
Well, for me, it's Tua. And although I'm listening to you, Marcellus, and you're talking about does it add up? Well, the reason why it was able to add up for Tua down in Miami is because his team was better. He wasn't necessarily better. When we look at Joe Burrow, it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't better. His team wasn't better or even as good as we look at the Dolphins in their roster. So for me, it is Tua Tagovailoa. Why? Because he wasn't even their outright starter. We had Ryan Fitzpatrick sharing that job at quarterback, and we know there hasn't been a team that has had proven success when they do that. Make a decision. Well, we tried to, but Tua would never really latch on to it and just run with it. And Acho, you talk about the reason why he has doubters, or you may have skipped over that. The reason why he has doubters is because he hasn't shown me reason enough to not doubt what he has put on the field. When you look at the Dolphins and what is surrounding Tua Tagovailoa, they have pieces. The only question is at quarterback.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
When you look at Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bengals, you look at their situation and they don't question whether or not we have the guy. The whole question has been, is Tua our guy? We need to see him take that next step. Yes, you say their stats are comparable, but when we look at the yards, and this is where, as a receiver, don't disrespect what these numbers are telling you. Tua, yes, he threw for 1,800 yards and he had 11 touchdowns and he threw for about 64%. Burrow, 65%, 2,700 yards and 13 touchdowns. But he pushed the ball downfield. He was able to sustain drives. He was able to move the chains by forcing himself to throw the ball beyond just a check down. We have yet to see that I'm not going to even say we. I have yet to see Tua perform a complete game where he looked extremely in control and comfortable in the National Football League.
Wait a second, Coach.
We know what he's displayed in the NCAA on that stage and on that platform.
Let me see Greg talk this nonsense.
In the National Football League.
Let me see Greg talk this nonsense. Now, look, G, don't do this. You know too much football to do this, G.
Yeah.
Because Burrow had more weapons, I would argue, or at least the same amount of competency as weapons Tua did. But more importantly, one has a full-fledged defensive-minded head coach, and one has what's supposed to be an offensive genius at head coach in Joe Burrow. So don't come at me and come at Tua, really, for being more statistically maligned when his head coach had him playing with his hands behind his back. His coach had him throwing to the first read, didn't open up the playbook for him. Fitzpatrick went in the game, the playbook was opened up. Burrow, on the other hand, from day one, the playbook was entirely opened up. I'm not going to put it on Tua's IQ. I'm going to put it on the fact that they did not allow Tua to thrive. You've played with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, one currently in the Hall, one going to be in the Hall, first ballot. You know what a quarterback can do when the playbook's opened up versus what they can do when it's not opened up. G, talk to me.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm with you. You said Tua has more to prove because of his doubters.
Yes,
I'm just saying he has more to prove because the doubters have a right to doubt because we haven't seen what he could do and what he has done.
But
when we talk about opening up a playbook, I'm in that huddle. Let's just say we're both in that huddle. We have all the confidence in the world in Ryan Fitzpatrick. When he comes in, we know what he can do. We know he's not an elite quarterback, but shoot, open the playbook up. I feel like we can do anything that you call right now, Coach. Tua gets in, my disposition changes, my posture changes, because it's like, all right, man. I mean, the playbook, I wish we could do more. Just throw the ball down the field. Like, that is what they were experiencing in that huddle. It wasn't a lack of opening up the playbook. It was upstairs for me. For when I watched him play, he just didn't push the ball down the field. They had numerous occasions where he and Ryan Fitzpatrick was running the same plays, the same packages. And why was the result so different? Because there was a level of confidence that one was playing with and a lack of confidence that the other was playing with. I know it is in there. I'm not doubting that. I just need to see it. That's all I'm saying.
Man, ooh, y'all going at it. And I don't think it's fair to Tua what we're hearing from you guys about him. More you, Greg. Let me just focus in on you, big dog. Because you act like that Cincinnati had this worse situation than Miami. When I remind you, in the last 10 years, Miami has had one winning season. Cincinnati's had 5. I remind you that the Dolphins' last playoff win came in 2000. I was still playing, Greg. I was still out there getting it. Like, he didn't go to the greatest situation. And, yeah, it was a veteran out there, Ryan Fitzpatrick. We know who he is, who already knew the playbook in terms of just veteran experience and is just going to have more savvy. So you let him start off and you reserve Tua until latter season. But it added up. Comparable stats, but not comparable wins. So now we're starting to get to who has the it factor. Not only about health, but also in terms of making it add up for the team's success. This is an interesting case study right here because I think both quarterbacks are good and they have the potential to be great. But don't forget, Tua was coming off a hip surgery. They say it takes 2 years to even feel good about yourself, let alone go out there and feel good about the playbook and feel good enough and confident enough as an NFL player to show all of your talents. So you add all that up. Tua, who was coming off injury, stayed healthy. Burrow didn't. You add up the fact that the team had success, 6-3, with Tua being, as some would say, not a great quarterback or even good quarterback. Imagine what they're going to do when the light turns on. Imagine what they're going to do if Tua really lights it up. Because already just being adequate, just being a game manager, just being okay, he already makes it add up into wins. Next year is going to be special.
That's why we need him to do more.
Well, yeah, and they're going to win more than Burrow and them. Coming up, Myles Garrett thinks the Browns are primed for a deep playoff run. We'll tell you if we agree. Next on Speak for Yourself. Yay.
The Browns broke through last year, making the playoffs and winning a playoff game against their division rival / bully, the Steelers. Cleveland looks to build on that success this season, extending running back Nick Chubb's contract and signing Jadeveon Clowney. Myles Garrett, who will likely benefit from the addition of Clowney, thinks his team can, quote, go to the playoffs and make a run. So, Sel, you confident, or how confident are you in Baker leading the Browns on a deep playoff run?
Oh, you said Baker leading?
You heard me.
That's when I have some apprehension there. I believe in this Browns roster. I believe in their fate and their destiny. I think they're going to make a playoff run. I just don't think Baker's going to lead them in that playoff pursuit because he didn't do it last year, so why do I think he's going to do it this year? Oh, he's going to improve. It's kind of hard to improve when your entire career you've been inconsistent. That means after good, bad follows. So last year was good. What follows good in this equation? Bad. Baker Mayfield, year 1, good. Year 2, year 3, good. Year 4, we back there again. Unless he changes his course of action. He has no Pro Bowls. 1 win this season, 1 playoff appearance. He's 1 game over 500. And his best offensive ranking is 14th. And 2 of the other years, 20th or worse. Well, I don't know where we're going with this. Like, I like Baker Mayfield. He can make me love him. But right now, inconsistency is not going to make me love you. You know what also is not going to make me love you? That no one in the NFL in the last 3 years has thrown more interceptions than Baker Mayfield. Thank God Jameis got benched. But other than that, look at this. Baker Mayfield, 44 interceptions the last 3 years. That's not leading the team deep into the playoffs. We all know what the Cleveland Browns were last year. They were a team that were well-dressed and had the makeup on Baker Mayfield's game. Why do I say that? Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, yeah, number 3 ranked rushing offense. Okay, what were y'all ranked in the passing offense? 24? Baker Mayfield? No. What was he ranked in completion percentage? 30th? You trying to tell me that the 30th ranked quarterback in completion percentage is going to lead this team? No. He's going to be a part of this team. He's going to definitely be attached to this team, but leading them, that's going to come from the running game.
So I got to disagree with you. I co-sign on the Browns will make a playoff run, but I think Baker's the one to lead them there. We can all agree Lamar's a good quarterback. We can all agree Lamar's a really good quarterback.
Where are you going with this?
But statistically, recently, Baker and Lamar did the same thing. I'm talking total same thing. Look at the total yards. Lamar Jackson, 4,200. Baker Mayfield, 4,200. Look at the passing touchdowns. Baker Mayfield, 30-9. Lamar, 26-11. So if we can all agree that Baker Mayfield, or Lamar Jackson rather, is an incredible quarterback, if Baker Mayfield has the same amount of yardage and more passing touchdowns, fewer interceptions, I did not include Lamar Jackson's rushing touchdowns. I did include his rushing yards. If we can all agree that Lamar's really good, Baker's in that conversation. One of 5 quarterbacks, over 30 passing touchdowns, 30 or over, and under 10 interceptions. Do not be deceived as to who Baker Mayfield is. Not who Baker Mayfield was during his sophomore slump, but who Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield is a quality and a highly competent quarterback. The biggest thing is this, though, and I'm just going to say my little last lap. I'm going to do a lap and a half.
Good.
We oftentimes get mad at people for playing their role. Baker Mayfield's role isn't to go out and pass for 450 yards.
Oh, we know that.
So let's not condemn Baker Mayfield for actually doing his job and doing his job well. His job is to go out there, help his team win, let the running backs dominate, throw the ball when you need to, be efficient, don't turn the ball over, and that's exactly what he did. So I'm not going to condemn him for not passing for 500 yards a game. That ain't his job. I don't condemn Tom Brady for not rushing for 50 yards a game. It's not his job. It's Cam Newton's job, but it's not Tom Brady's job. Baker Mayfield understands the assignment, and he's executing the assignment at a high level.
No, don't do that. It's kind of like the Tua conversation with Joe Burrow. The playbook shifts because of your limits. And if you look at Baker Mayfield, the playbook shifts because they realize this dude can't throw it like that, not just yet. Let's talk about the fact that if you look at Baker Mayfield, they know they had that strong running game, but they also have Pro Bowl wide receivers. They also have good tight ends. And they're looking around saying, we should be able to air it out, but they can't. Not to the degree that they should, because Baker Mayfield is the weaker link in that equation. It's not Odell when healthy. It's not Landry. It's the fact that Baker, a little inconsistent. I told you about his completion percentage. Dog, I don't care how many plays they draw up. You can't complete them better than being 30th ranked in the entire NFL. You right there with Dwayne Haskins is next to you in competition. Come on, man. Inconsistency in terms of passer rating. How many times did Baker Mayfield have a streak of passer rating games over 100? Okay, last year you had 2. Year before you had none. Year before that you had 1. And that's the point. When they start believing in you, before they could trust you, you got to be reliable. That means they got to see it week in, week out. And then when they see that, then they start giving you more. The problem is as soon as they reach to give Baker more, he has one of those games that make you say, This is a team that has 28th ranked in terms of NFL passing attempts. Lamar has it as well. Lamar Jackson is right there as well. You know why? Because Lamar's running the ball. Lamar has a run-based offense as well, and he doesn't have the receivers. Name a Pro Bowl receiver for Lamar Jackson. You don't know him. But Baker Mayfield has several and still can't get the job done. This is not Baker hate. This is just Baker. Do Baker and be consistent, and they'll give you more. That's it? Oh, okay. All right, coming up, the Seahawks have key players on both of the ball. Look at the coping up there. Like, geez. Not participating in training camp over contract disputes. We'll tell you if Seattle's doing enough to support Russell Wilson. Doing more than COVID is supporting me. That's next on Speak for Yourself. He said, the Seahawks and Russell Wilson worked out their issues this offseason to get Russ back at camp. Wilson wasn't the only Seahawk with an issue this offseason. Safety Jamal Adams and left tackle Dwayne Brown are both hold-ins, meaning they are present, but not practicing while contract negotiations continue. Reportedly, their quarterback is willing to restructure his deal to get their contracts done. So, Acho, are the Seahawks doing enough to keep Russell Wilson happy?
No, but I don't think they can. I don't know that Russell Wilson's football happiness comes from the Seahawks, or does it come from within? Right, Russell Wilson's life happiness, we already know, at least it appears that he's one of the happiest men, most joyful men on the planet. But as it pertains to the Seahawks, I don't think the Seahawks can do anything, Sel. At least they can't do anything now to make him happy.
Yeah.
Why is Russell Wilson discontent? He's discontent, to our knowledge, because he was at the Super Bowl watching two quarterbacks who he feels he's somewhere in between or right below play a game that he should be playing. Only thing that would make Russell Wilson happy is getting back to the Super Bowl, which he hasn't been to in 7, going on 8 years. It's a long time now. It was his sophomore and junior season. It's a long time since then. So I don't know that an acquisition here or re-signing there, that stuff won't make Russell Wilson happy. Only way for Russ to be happy is to get back to the big game. But the Seahawks can't do that or accomplish that right here and right now.
No, man. They're doing everything they can. It's just one of those dudes that got something in him, and I'll get to that at the end of my take, that is not going to allow anything else to stop him in terms of what he wants, and that's going to make him happy, what he wants. He was the highest paid player in the league just 5 seconds ago. That didn't make him fully happy. I don't think so. He wanted to cook, let Russ cook, and you can't blame the kitchen. You can't blame the pots and pans. Nobody ever walks in the kitchen and say, let me cook, if there's nothing to cook. So he had the stuff to cook. He just burnt it up. So you can't blame the assets and resources around him. You also can't blame this team, because this is the same team that was unbeatable. What, a 5-0 start? Most points. They looked amazing. And in the same season with the same players, they looked so beatable, to the point where in the playoff game, Russell Wilson had one of his worst postseason moments. But this is why Russell Wilson really can't be happy, and I get it. I've seen this before. Kobe Bryant used to always say, rest in peace. I want to win, but I also want to be the reason we win. He won that first Super Bowl, but he wasn't the man. He knew he had to ride the defense and run the game. He lost that second Super Bowl as a team, and he felt like he lost it with that one play. Went to the sports therapist, blah, 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 but still, in reality, it's very few times you can point to one play and say we won or lost the game, and that happened in the Super Bowl. And since then, he became the man. But since then, he's not been back to the Super Bowl. Only thing gonna make him happy, going back to the Super Bowl and winning it. Coming up, which NBA player would you choose for a winner-take-all game? Uh-oh, our answers, it may shock you. That's next on Speed.
Kevin Durant's not a shocking answer, man. Nikola Jokic won league MVP and Giannis Antetokounmpo won finals MVP, but neither are widely considered the best player in the association. It's either LeBron James or Kevin Durant, and according to one NBA insider, most GMs would still choose 36-year-old LeBron in a winner-take-all game. So, Sel, who would you draft first if you needed to win one game?
You already know, KD, baby, the best player in the world. The world just found that out in the Olympics, saved our country as well. I'm taking that guy because not only is he the best player, but he's still in his prime, respect to that. And I don't want to hear anybody else. Like, I'm about to shoot down whoever you say. Let's go.
Here's the thing. Your best player at his best did not outplay my best player, Giannis, who go out to the at his best. I'm taking Giannis because Giannis, in a bigger game than KD's big game, outperformed KD's statistical performance en route to winning an NBA championship without other former league MVPs on his squad like Kevin Durant did. So all I'm going to say is Kevin Durant is a great player. But third to Giannis and LeBron.
Your favorite player is Kevin Durant. So how the hell you gonna make a case for him? Giannis said, he's better than me. So that's 1. 2, you can't give me that when Giannis realized that in the moment KD outplayed him, bro. Don't want to hear it. That's it for us. We see y'all tomorrow.